Come crawling faster, faster. Obey your master, master.
I have been a huge Metallica fan ever since I was a teenager. I've actually found many of the online tutorials to be a little bit wrong, so I'm hopefully going to fix up some of those bits. Okay, this is a big video, so let's get started. Now, the left hand is fairly straightforward throughout this. That is not really where the hard parts are happening. It's really just the right hand. But the very first chord, let's talk about that. On the recording, there's one guitar which is playing a power chord down here. There's another guitar which is playing a power chord up here, possibly with the E string ringing. Now that's the one we're going to copy because it's a little bit more audible than the other one. Now the way you're going to play it is you're going to have an open E string, 7th fret on the A string, 9th fret on the D string, and then 9th fret on the G string. And just use your pinky finger and just bar across those two 9th frets. So you get all 4 of those notes sounding together like this. That's the very first chord. 1, 2, 3, 4. Next part. On the recording, you can hear that he's playing a power chord at the 10th fret. Again, using the pinky finger for that note up here. So index finger and pinky finger. That's the first chord in that bar. Then you hear a slight pull off to a palm muted note. Up to you if you want to add those details, but that's what you hear. Like that. So 10th fret, open. 9th fret power chord, open with a pull off. And then the 8th fret power chord. Now rhythmically, that whole section, those 3 bars, sounds like this. 1, and really clip that first chord off. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bar 4. Let's focus on the left hand first. So we're going to be playing 0, 0, 12, 0, 0, 11, 0, 0 in that first bar. I highly recommend you use your index finger to play all those single notes up here. James Hetfield uses his middle finger. I would recommend, again, just using your index finger instead because it means we're going to be able to get to these power chords quicker. So 0, 0, 12, 0, 0, 11, 0, 0. Power chord on the 10th fret. Index finger, pinky finger. Power chord on the 9th fret. Power chord on the 8th fret. Again, those first 2 bars. 0, 0, 12, 0, 0, 11, 0, 0, 10th fret power chord, 9th fret power chord, 8th fret power chord. Carrying on, 0, 0, 7, 0, 0, 6, 0, 0, 5, 0, 4, 0, 3, 0. Now for the last 2 notes in this, 2 and 1, you're going to use your middle finger for the 2nd fret so you can get to the 1st fret using your index finger. It's much quicker. That's the way Kirk does it, and that's the way James does it. So those last 2 bars again are 0, 0, 7, 0, 0, 6, 0, 0, 5, 0, 4, 0, 3, 0, 2, 1. Highly recommend you don't try to play those 2 notes with your index finger. Don't try and shift position halfway through. It's going to slow you down. So the right hand, throughout this, every time you play an open string, we're going to palm mute it. Every time you play a fretted note, you're not going to palm mute it. So there's going to be a bit of a workout with your right hand shifting up from palm muted to non-palm muted notes very rapidly. Okay, so it's going to sound like this. Palm muted, not palm muted, palm muted, palm muted, not palm muted, palm muted, palm muted. These power chords are not palm muted. There you go, and then back to some palm muting. Palm muted, 7, palm muted, 6, palm muted, 5, palm muted, 4, palm muted, 3, palm muted. Then the last 2 notes are palm muted as well. 2, 1. So the whole of that section, a little slowed down, sounds like this. And so on and so forth. Just a little note about that second bar with those power chords. If you can hear on the recording, there is an 8th note rest in between each of these. Rest. And then this one you hold. Now, in order to do that, you're going to clip off the duration of these notes with your right hand. Bring it down and mute that string. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, now the big challenge starts. In the B section, we're going to be doing a lot of chromatic movements with our left hand. So I highly recommend you play this whole thing in first position. Now what first position means, it means your index finger is going to be at the first fret, middle finger is going to be at the second fret, ring finger is going to be at the third fret, pinky finger is going to be at the fourth fret. In order to do this, you really got to have your thumb behind the neck. If you have your thumb over the top, like blues rock style, it's going to be very, very difficult to use your ring finger and particularly your pinky finger. They're going to have to travel a huge distance. All right, so try and keep the distance from those fingers to the string pretty even between the fingers. If you understand what I mean, like that versus it's just going to be impossible. Okay, so the notes are 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 3, 0, 1, 4, 0, 1, 3, 0, 1, 2, 2. Okay, moving on. 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 3, 1, 0. Everyone makes that mistake on the internet. The last two notes before we get to this slid power chord bit are played 1, 0. Now that is particularly useful because it means if we're to go 0, 1, it's difficult to shift up to those power chords up here. So again, the last two bars of that B section sounds like this. 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 3, 1, 0. And the last bar in that section sounds like this. We've got power chords, slid from the third fret to the second fret, then an open string, third fret to the second fret, open string, then third fret to the second fret, one more time. So that last bar sounds like this. 3, 2, 0, 3, 2, 0, 3, 2. Whole B section. 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 3, 0, 1, 4, 0, 1, 3, 0, 1, 2, 2, 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 3, 1, 0, 3, 2, 0, 3, 2, 0, 3, 2. With the right hand, every time we play a note on the E string, it's going to be palm muted. Every time we play a note on the A string, it is not going to be palm muted. So you can do this by either having your right hand lifting up in between every E string and A string note. So palm muted, not palm muted. Or a little cheat is you can just try and palm mute the E string. So be very, very delicate with your right hand, which is a big ask at those faster tempos, so that the A string isn't even palm muted at all. So you can just keep your wrist there, only palm muting the E string. So it goes like this: palm muted, not palm muted, not palm muted, not palm muted, not palm muted, palm muted. These two notes are both not palm muted, and then carrying on. Palm mute, not palm muted with the power chords, but the open strings are. 3, 2, palm muted, palm. So that whole section. 1, 2, 3. the C section sounds like this. 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 3, 0, 1, 4, 0, 1, 3, 0, 1, 2, 2. Same way that we've done in the previous section, in the B section. This is where it gets different. 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 3, 0, 1, 4, 0, 1, 3, 1, 0. Power chord on the A string. All right, at this point, we're going to slightly shift out of our first position by moving our index finger to the 2nd fret on the A string, pinky finger on the 4th fret. I've seen people play it like this, which is totally fine too. 1, 0. And to do a power chord using your middle finger and your pinky finger. Totally up to you. Next 4 bars sound like this. 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 3, 0, 1, 4, 0, 1, 3, 0, 1, 2, 2, 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 3, 1, 0. Power chord. All right, it ends in exactly the same way as the B section. So that is the 8 bars of that C section where the drums are in. On the demo, I just skipped through to the end of that, but on the actual recording, they do those 8 bars all again. After that, they double up on this little section. So 3, 2, 0, 3, 2, 0, 3, 2. All right, so let me do the last 4 bars of the C section. 0. So double up here. So the right hand, same rule. Every time we play a note on the E string, we're going to palm mute it. Every time we play a note on the A string, we are not going to palm mute. Every time there's a power chord, we do not palm mute it. And that will work for the whole of that section, which sounds and looks like this with the right hand. Palm muted, not, palm muted, not. Zero power chord. One, 0. 1, 2, 3, 4. The left hand, we're going to be playing in the 7th position. Our index finger is going to be playing the 7th fret of the A string. Our middle finger will be playing the 8th fret of the D string. They're going to stay there. What is really hard is what happens with the right hand. So check it out. Palm muted, normal note, not palm muted. Then it gets really hard. Same thing again. Palm muted, and then we got a pinch harmonic. If you know what a pinch harmonic is, it is when you get your pick and you're going to turn it a little bit sideways so that when you strike the string, you're going to be brushing a little bit of your thumb up against the string. Now, it's really, really important that you choose a very, very specific spot to do it. Now, the reason we use our thumb this way rather than that way is because we need to be putting our thumb or the flesh of our thumb in a very specific spot. If we use our thumb this way, your thumb is just going to be it's going to be touching too many parts on the string, and it's not going to be as definite and, again, specific that we need it. So most people will do a little pinch harmonic by twisting their pick this way and having their thumb going down that way. So, again, as I said, it's in a very specific spot. If you're not sure where it is, try picking along the string until you find it. For me, it's kind of above, slightly off to the left of this middle pickup. So that is the specific pinch harmonic that you want to do. It's, what is a B flat up? Should sound like this note. Pull that last two bars, sounds like this. Palm muted, normal, palm muted, pinch harmonic, palm muted, pinch harmonic, palm muted, pinch harmonic, palm muted. At this point on the recording, the pinch harmonic changes pitch. Instead of 2 octaves up, sounds like it's a third up there too. Don't worry if you can't get those, as long as you get the... See, I can't even do it right now. As long as you get those 2 octaves up pretty consistently, it'll be fine. So again, those last 2 bars, palm muted, not palm muted, pinch harmonic, palm muted, pinch harmonic, palm muted, pinch harmonic, palm muted, other pinch harmonic right at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the D section, left hand, is going to be a lot of open strings, so we're not going to be putting our fingers anywhere. There's going to be a lot of sliding around of power chords. For instance, it sounds like this. Oh, 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 oh. Second bar, oh. 3rd fret power chord, slid to the 5th fret, open string. 6th fret power chord, slid to the 5th fret, and then 3rd fret power chord, sliding up to the 5th fret again. So that second bar sounds like this. Oh. In order to do this, you got to be fairly loose about what your thumb is doing on the back of the neck. If you keep your thumb in a fixed position, it becomes very difficult to move around. All right, so you're going to be a lot of clamping of the back of the fretboard, back of the neck, and a lot of releasing. If you got like a sticky surface with the back of your neck, like it's got like a gloss finish, it's going to be hard to do this. If you do have a gloss finish, what you can always do is put some sort of lemon oil or some sort of string lubricant on the back of your guitar neck in order to do that. Another little handy tip is if you don't have those things at hand, just rub the back of your neck, your actual neck. There's probably going to be some grease back there, so just take advantage of that. There we go. Little tip for you. All right, at this point we get to that contentious bar that everyone's talking about where the rhythm gets a little funky. So on the recording, they switch out of 4/4 into some weird time signature that feels truncated, feels like it's shortened a little bit. Some people say it's 5/8. I've tried that. It doesn't really work. Some other people say it's like 21/32, which is just ridiculous. As Rick Beato said on his excellent video, just feel it. That's how they would have done it. So just rush through that bar a little bit and hope that you land on the next bar on time. On my demo video, you'll see that that's what I'm doing too. But try your best. Try your absolute best. So those 4 bars sound like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and then again, try your absolute best to get through that. Something you can definitely hear on the recording though is between these 3rd fret slid up power chords, there's a definite break, a rhythmic break in between. So what you can do is with your right hand, bring it down to mute those strings. Speaking of right hand, what we're going to do throughout all this is every time we play an open E string, we're going to palm mute it. Every time we do not, we will not. Like this. Palm muted, 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 palm muted note. And again, 2 and 3 and 4 and funky bit. All right, so that section happens twice. That's a little pre-verse, happens before the vocals come in, and then we're into the vocal section. The vocal section is exactly the same as the section we just learned then, except we need to play it 4 times in total. So at this point, we're going to modulate the whole thing up to F sharp. So we're going to be playing in a second position. So your index finger will be at the second fret. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. At this point, we have a open string on the A string with a hammer on onto the second fret. Now at the same time as we're doing that with our index finger, our pinky finger is going to stay at the 4th fret for both of those. So it's going to sound like this, with an open and a 4th fret at the same time, to the 2nd fret and the 4th fret at the same time. So again, it sounds like this. At this point, we're going to do a palm muted note down at the F sharp again, the 2nd fret of the E string, which you can barely hear on the recording, but it is there. So those first 4 notes of that second bar sound like this. Now, in order to do that correctly, you're going to do the hammer on with the pad of your index finger, and you're going to get this low E string with the fingertip. And then we move on to a power chord at the 3rd fret on the A string, sliding down to the 2nd fret, and then that same maneuver again with a open and 4th fret, hammer onto the 2nd fret. So there's that second bar again, sounds like this. 2, open, hammer on, finger roll, 3rd fret, slide, open, hammer on. And the 3rd bar, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. That 4th bar again, 5/8, 21/32, whatever you want to call it. Truncated bar sounds like this. 2nd fret on the E string, and then 2 of these hammer-ons with some muting in between. So those 4 bars sound like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, hammer on, slide, hammer on, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, hammer on, hammer on. Right hand, exactly the same rules apply, except every time we play the E string, we're going to do a palm muted note. So all these 2nd frets are all palm muted, and whenever you do any of these power chords, they're not going to be palm muted. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, including that note palm muted, but not these. Then back to palm muted notes for the 3rd bar. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, non-palm muted. Again, checking out the fact that between each of these hammered on little power chord parts, we're going to be muting with our right hand. Okay, so that whole section happens a second time. And then going into the G section or the pre-chorus, there's 1 bar where we're going to be playing 2nd fret single notes on the A string, palm muted too. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... On the tablature, I've notated that there's a muted string on the D string. Don't worry if you don't get that. That's actually not that important. What's more important is that you play the 2nd fret on the A string. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Now, if you listen closely to the recording, it sounds like those notes are progressively getting sharper. Now, that could just be that with the left hand, you're pulling the string slightly down towards the ground, or he could have just really pushed down on the string very hard with the palm muting, which makes the string go sharp as well. Like that. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, we're going to be playing a power chord on the A string, 3 notes on the E string, then a power chord on the A string 5th fret, then a power chord on the A string 7th fret. Again, that first bar, 7th fret power chord. Moving on, the second bar. Now, people have been teaching this the wrong way. They're saying that he plays it at the 7th fret, or either James or Kurt plays it at the 7th fret, and they use their ring fingers and their pinky fingers. They do not. They absolutely play 7th fret on the A string, then they shift position to the 9th position. Do a finger roll on the D string, down to the 10th fret on the A string, and then a hammer on from the 9th fret to the 10th fret. So it sounds like this. On the A string, 7, 9, 9 on the D string, 10th fret A string, and a hammer on from the 9th fret to the 10th fret with your index finger to middle finger. So again, 7, 9, 9, 10, 9, 10. There's also vibrato at the end. So let's stick to rock vibrato, just using the fingers themselves to do the movements. So nothing like Clapton's vibrato or B.B. King's vibrato. We're going to be going rock vibrato. Third bar, everyone writes this wrong too. We're going to be playing 7th fret power chords on the E string, 1 and 2, and then 8th fret power chord, then a 7th fret power chord. So again, 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Fourth bar sounds like this. 8th fret power chords, 1 and 2 and 6th fret power chord on the A string, 7th fret power chord on the E string. Again, those 2 bars sound like this. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. So with the right hand, every time we play a power chord on the A string, we're not going to palm mute. Every time we play a single note on the E string, we will palm mute. So chord, palm mute, palm mute, palm mute, chord, chord. These next 2 notes are palm muted. 7, 9. This note is not palm muted. This note is palm muted. And these 2 notes are not palm muted. So go in those 2 bars. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Next 2 bars, we got palm muted notes on the E string with these power chords. 1 and 2 and these are not palm muted. 8, 7. These are 1 and 2 and these are not. Again, those last 2 bars. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. So we repeat those 4 bars 3 times, and then we get to the very 4th repeat of that, which has a slightly different tail, as Metallica like to call them. Sounds like this. Now we've got the harmony part. We've got one guitar playing the lower harmony, one is playing the upper harmony. So the lower harmony sounds like this. We play this whole thing in 2nd and 6th position. It's going to be easy. 9, 7, 6, rest. 6, 8, 7, rest. Now the other guitar is doing a very, very similar thing, just a 3rd up. It sounds like this at the 9th position. 12, 10, 9, rest. 9, 12, 11, rest. Now on the notation and on the demo and my version, I put both guitars together. So you get this kind of minor 3rd, major 3rd thing happening, descending on the A string and the D string, which looks like this. Every time you do a minor 3rd, as in with 2 frets apart, you're going to use your index finger and ring finger. Every time you do a major 3rd, as in like that, you're going to use your index finger and middle fingers. So it goes, if you just focus on where my ring finger is, 9, 7, 6, rest. 6, 3, 2, rest. Again, 9, 7, 6, rest. 6, 3, first. And then we got to end that section, we got those two iconic bars. Master, 3, 4, Master, 3, 4. I am not a singer. So with the left hand, that is going to be a power chord, open string power chord. It's either just 0 and 2 or 0, 2, and 2 if you'd like. Doesn't really matter. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you do the same thing, but at the first fret, which means you're going to be playing the low E string with your index finger and playing the pinky finger, using the pinky finger on the 3rd fret of the A string. 2. Again, you can have 2 notes up here played by a pinky finger if you can. If not, just you do the 2-note power chord. Now, in order to get separation between each of these, with our right hand, we're going to bring it down onto the string to mute in between 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 3, 2, 3, 4. All right, the chorus. The hard part about the chorus isn't the left hand or the right hand, or combining both. It's counting. So there's going to be a bunch of 4/4 bars in here and a bunch of 2/4 bars in here. Now it seems pretty natural if you know the song well enough and you're following along with the lyrics. If you don't know it well enough, I'm going to give you a little rhythmic rundown while I play along. So have a listen. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 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 and. So the notes, left hand, let's get started. So the very first thing we play is a power chord, open E string power chord. You can play just 2 notes if you want, or all 3 notes, up to you. Followed by 3 open string notes, O, O, O. Next bar of 2/4 goes 2nd fret power chord, 3 open E string chords again, then a 3rd fret power chord for 2 bars. Moving on, we've got a 3rd fret on the A string power chord, 3 open strings, 2nd fret power chord, 3 open strings on the A again, then an open string power chord for 2 bars. Then 5th fret on the A string power chord, 3 3rd fret notes on the E string, then a 3rd fret power chord on the A string, followed by those same 3 3rd fret single notes on the E string, then a 2nd fret power chord. Moving on, 7th fret power chord on the A string, 3 open strings on the E, 5th fret power chord A string, 3 open strings, then a 3rd fret power chord on the A string for 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, then back to that iconic Master 3, 4, Master 3, 4. Then again, open string power chord, 3 open string single notes, 2nd fret E string power chord, those 3 open string notes again, then a 3rd fret power chord on the A string. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, back to Master, Master. Now in terms of the right hand, every time we play a chord, we just play it as normal. Every time we have a single note, we're going to palm mute it. All right, whether that is an open string single note, or there's also some 3rd fret single notes. So I'll play through it. It's going to look like this. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Power chord. Palm mute, palm mute, palm mute. Power chord. Palm. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4. 2, 3. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Now remember, with this little master bit, we want to clip off. Make those notes just 8th notes. 1 and 2, and don't play it like this. 1, 2. All right, so you got to mute in between. 1, palm mute, palm mute. First fret, palm mute. First fret, palm mute. Then back to the riff. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Out of the first chorus and just before the second verse, we go back to that riff again, the same riff that we played at the C section. All right, the little. All right, it's exactly the same, with including the double tag at the end. All right, I'll talk through it anyway. Left hand goes 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 3, 0, 1, 4, 0, 1, 3, 0, 1, 2, 2, 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 3, 0, 4, 0, 1, 3, 1, 0, second fret power chord, 0, 1, 2, 1, 3, 0, 1, 4, 0, 1, 3, 0, 1, 2, 2, 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 3, 1, 0, power chord, open power chord, open power chord, power chord, open power chord, open power chord. With the right hand, every time we play notes on the E string, same rules apply. We will palm mute them. Every time we play a note on the A string, we will not. Also, every time we play a power chord, we also do not palm mute. So it's going to look like this. Palm mute, not, palm mute, not, palm mute, not. 1, 2, 3, 4. By far the hardest part about this song is the fact that we're going to be downpicking everything. So there's not going to be any alternate picking. No. All downstrokes. So in order to do that, I've got a bunch of tips for you. So tip number 1, you need to make sure that your pick is not moving around in your hand too much. If you're using the ever popular trigger grip, as Troy Grady says, you're going to be using the thumb pad and the side of your index finger in order to hold the pick. Now, with that method, your thumb and your index finger can still flex around a little bit, which means the angle of your pick is going to change a little bit. So you got to make sure that that is not moving. You can do that how I did it, by using the middle finger and supporting the back of your index finger and just holding it and locking it in place so that your middle finger and index finger become like a unit. You can do it the way that Kirk Hammett does it, which is he stretches his middle finger out, which again effectively does the same thing. It kind of locks the index finger between the thumb and middle finger. The other way that you can do it is like James Hetfield, which is to use your middle finger and index finger on the back of the pick and then use your thumb tip on the other side. Tip number 2, what to do with your pinky finger and your ring fingers. So both of those guys splay their fingers out. Now that has the benefit of giving your hand a reference. So you know where your pick guard is and what kind of angle that your pick is going to be taking across the string. Also, if you were to just keep it on the pick guard itself, it gives your hand a little reference point for when you are switching between palm muted notes and non-palm muted notes. Now, as you can see, I'm using my pinky finger and my ring fingers here and just keeping them planted, and I'm flexing my wrist in order to lift my palm up from the strings and then straightening it up when I do want the palm muting happening. How you actually strike the string is the next tip that I'm going to give you. All right, Ben Eller released a great YouTube video talking about this as well. So he recommends, and I highly recommend it as well, to whenever you do a downstroke, to have your pick raise away from the string, so away from the pick guard. So you can think of it not as a downstroke, you can think of it as like an outstroke, away from the pick guard stroke. Either way you want to call it, that's the way I highly recommend you do it. Do not do it this way. The motions involved in getting your pick to hit the string and then come back and then clear it and then hit it again are too fine. It's very, very easy to double up on the string or hit the string by accident. Also, don't just go straight across because, again, the motion is very, very complicated. You're going to hit the E string, then your pick has to come out, and then raise, come back, and then start again. All right, so away from the pick guard. Next tip I'm going to give you is just where the motion is going to be coming from. The movement's not going to come purely from our wrist like that because you're going to get really, really sore up here. All right, so that is going to tire you out very, very quickly. I would recommend most of the motion should be coming from your elbow. So think about locking everything in place. Think about locking your pick in place. Think about locking your wrist somewhat in place and having most of the motion coming from your forearm. Like that. All right, that way you get a little bit less fatigue. It still gets tiring. You still need to work your way up to those tempos. Now, a really, really important practice tip is even when you're playing at slow tempos, be super, super conscious of any tension. If you're repeating something a bunch of times, you're not making it perfect, you're making it permanent. You're repeating a motion again and again, but you're repeating it with tension. What's going to happen is as you speed up and play at those faster tempos, that tension is still going to be present, and that's going to be the thing that slows you down and gives you cramps and fatigue and all that stuff at those faster tempos. So be really conscious of any tension in your forearm. If you're getting tension, stop. Reassess the way you're holding your pick, reassess the way you're doing it, all that stuff. And that wraps up part 1. So again, thank you so much for watching the video, and a special thanks goes to my buddy Luke for lending me this fantastic guitar. Thank you, man. YouTube video guy says, again, call to action. Give me the old thumbs up, subscribe, hit the bell notification icon so you don't miss anything. Consider donating. Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. It's very much appreciated. This video particularly took me a really long time to make, so much appreciated. If you have any suggestions for future videos, feel free to leave them in the comments below. I'm going to read every single one. And also check out my other links to my other videos. Most of them are pretty good. If you don't like them, that's fine. But I like them. Hope you like them. Okay, till the next one.